Good evening, I am Faida Gaga. You can also follow us live via our YouTube channel, TBC Online. Also, get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook and X pages at TBC Online. Director General of the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, Dr. Q says the organization is impressed with Tanzania's Building a Better Tomorrow project, which aims to support youth in agribusiness across the country. Here are more details.
Dr. Kui Dangu says FAO is impressed and will support the Tanzanian government's efforts in the BBT project to boost agriculture sector. Talking to Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa at FAO headquarters in Rome, Italy, the Director General congratulated the President Samia Suluhu Hassan for improving the agriculture sector as well as improving relations with international partners. On the other hand, Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa said the government has begun to improve agricultural scope from relying on rain and to focus more on irrigation. He said the government has allocated 900 billion shillings for the project.
Kubwa zaidi ni mpango mkakati ulioko sasa kuwashirikisha vijana na wanawake katika kushiriki kwenye kilimo.
Our strategic plan is to involve the youth and women in agriculture because agriculture is life, agriculture is food, and we want to make sure that no Tanzanian dies due to lack of food. In order to achieve this, we have started to allocate suitable areas for agriculture for the youth and women who want to participate in agriculture. In addition to that, we also provide education for the type crops they want to cultivate. But we pay a visit to the land that we have allocated. It gets measured because FAO had a few concerns on whether we were on the agricultural digital system, of which we have already started the digital registration.
Kwa sababu sasa tumepeleka maelekezo haya kwa wasimamizi kule chini.
The Prime Minister says apart from the improvements made in the agriculture sector, the government is also encouraging farmers from the initial stages of farm preparations to secure markets through extension officers assigned. The Prime Minister says the government has started a digital system to make it easier to identify them and identify the size of the farms and the types of crops they grow in order to facilitate the delivery of extension services and agricultural inputs on time.
Serikali yetu inaongozwa na Mheshimiwa Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan.
Our government, led by President Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, is focused on the agricultural sector that can economically beneficial to Tanzania. First, we have assured ourselves that we have enough food storage for ourselves, and secondly, we are producing enough food surplus of which it will be able to cover the food gap if and when any natural disaster arrives, but we can also sell food as we collaborate with the World Food Program.
Na kama ambavyo tunavyoshirikiana na World Food Program.
The Prime Minister Majaliwa uses the opportunity to thank FAO for its decision to support the government of Tanzania in the implementation of the BBT program, which aims to support young people and women to participate in agriculture.
Now from Rome, let's come back to Tanzania, where the Minister of Constitutional and Legal Affairs, Ambassador Dr. Pindi Chana, says there is a need for human rights stakeholders in Africa to increase cooperation in the effort to protect and defend human rights, which is an important step to bring social welfare in the region. Ambassador Chana was opening a meeting of stakeholders of the network to protect and defend human rights in African countries, insisting the move will make African countries in rule of law and improve the welfare of the citizens. Here's a report by Sichilela Kongola, read to you by Kanki Mwagomole.
Stakeholders of human rights from African countries are meeting in the city of Arusha to discuss the challenges of the sector. The meeting has been organized by the Network of Association for the Human Rights Protection in the country.
First, we have discussed about a model policy that we have prepared for human rights defenders that should recognize and protect the work we are doing. Human rights defenders have many challenges that they go through. We are also reflecting on the 25 years of human rights defenders of human rights.
The Minister of Constitution and Legal Affairs, Dr. Pindi Chana, opens the meeting.
Lazima Africa teamwork tuwe pamoja.
We must, as Africans, have teamwork. We continue to defend human rights, as we have said that defending human rights is not a crime. The National Commission for Human Rights is very broad, as it involves non-government organizations, and other non-governmental stakeholders. In another step, Dr. Chana meets with journalists to talk about the preparations of the meeting of the 77th session of the African Commission on Human Rights and People's Rights, which is expected to be inaugurated by the President of the Revolutionary Government Zanzibar, Dr. Hussein Ali Mwinyi, on behalf of the President Samia Suluhu Hassan on October the 20th this year.
Anakuja Rais Dr. Hussein Ali Mwinyi,
President of the Revolutionary Government of Zanzibar, will officiate the 77th Ordinary Session of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, while it will open a door for various business opportunities, including tourism.
The president of Zanzibar, Dr. Hussein Ali Mwinyi, has already left Zanzibar and is now in Arusha region for the opening of that meeting. President Dr. Mwinyi is accompanied by his spouse, Mariam Mwinyi, and other government officials. In other news, Ethiopian ambassador to Tanzania, Shibru Mamo Kedida, says Ethiopia is set to benefit the north and eastern countries of Africa when his country becomes a full member of the BRICS bloc from January 1st, 2024. Speaking to TBC News, he insisted that Ethiopia is strategically positioned and well interconnected with key East African countries. Nasser Kingo has more.
The leaders of BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, when last met in Johannesburg, South Africa, they had over 40 countries that had applied to join the bloc. Even though there is a division within the 5 members, fearing the expansion will dilute their influence. But finally, BRICS, among other countries, the 15th BRICS Summit invited Ethiopia to become a full member of BRICS from January 1st, 2024.
We have decided to invite the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia to become full members of BRICS.
To know how Ethiopia have received the news and how will the neighboring countries benefit, I am here at the Ethiopian Embassy in Dar es Salaam to meet the Ethiopian Ambassador to Tanzania, His Excellency Shibru Mamo Kedida. The ambassador says this is an important moment for Ethiopia.
Ethiopia is receiving the news being selected. It is significant diplomatic achievements for Ethiopia, and the recognition of its growing economy and political influence in Africa. And the other is it could also provide opportunities for increasing trade, investment, and cooperation with member countries.
Furthermore, he thinks Ethiopia is strategically positioned to benefit the rest.
Ethiopia is strategically located in the Horn of Africa, which makes it a key play in regional and global affairs, and Ethiopia is one of the 3rd diplomatic community hub.
Also gives a word on the recent East African Community Secretary General's comment on Ethiopia to join the East African Community bloc.
Regional economic integration, Ethiopia is interconnected with Kenya, Somalia, South Sudan, Djibouti by road and green energy development and electric power. Ethiopia can benefit from increasing trade, investment, and regional integration. Additionally, Ethiopia can play a crucial role in promoting peace and stability in the region. It is obvious that Ethiopia is African capital and future African powerhouse. I hope by considering all this.
Finally, Ambassador Kedida assets Tanzania and Ethiopia are set to build even stronger ties.
Both countries had played a major role in the struggling of apartheid and anti-colonial movement in Africa and promoting Pan-Africanism. Finally, regarding the bilateral relation between the 2 countries, I would like to conclude by giving you the information that following to the 2 countries so far made establishment of a joint ministerial commission as a framework to coordinate their bilateral relation. This year, we aggressively working for its attainment.
The region and the continent is waiting to see what impact will the inclusion of Ethiopia and Egypt have to the economies and well-being of its people. Nasa Kingu, TBC News.
The Ministry of Industry and Trade has signed agreements on trade negotiations with the U.S. Department of Commerce to develop and increase commercial cooperation in the areas of the digital economy, product markets, legal systems, and cooperation at trade fairs and commercial caravans. Rehema Sababili reports.
While signing the agreement in Dar es Salaam, the Minister of Industry and Trade, Dr. Ashatu Kijaji, says efforts are still needed to increase the level of trade between these two countries.
Maeneo ambayo tumekubaliana kuanza nayo majadiliano kupitia hati hii ya makubaliano kutokana.
The areas that we have agreed to start the dialogue on through this document of agreement due to the importance in the economy of our nation are the digital economy and market access, as said by the director of the Industrial Federation. They wanted to enter their products in the American market, and this is an area that has given great strength, and we will start with that to make sure that the products produced in our country will enter to the United States, as well as those of the United States to enter the country.
Ni upatikanaji wa masoko ya bidhaa zinazozalishwa ndani ya taifa letu.
However, Minister Kijaji urged the private sector to maximize on the opportunities the agreement will provide and identify challenging areas in order to solve the trade barriers between the United States and Tanzania.
Now, when we start to sit down and start the commercial dialogue, it will help us visualize what we have, what resources are there, and how to use them for the benefit of both nations.
For these meetings, we will have the opportunity for face-to-face dialogue with both public and private stakeholders together. This open dialogue gives us the tools to effectively identify challenges, but more importantly, to implement solutions. It's one thing to identify a challenge, but if we leave it there, there's no growth. We must also implement solutions. Together with technical experts, we're going to collaborate to ensure that the next chapter of our relationship is even more dynamic than the last.
The private sector in this country, wengi they were looking for this opportunity. How do we open up that avenue to Europe and particularly the USA? So this is the answer.
The statistics for 2022 show that the export of the Tanzanian products to the United States have reached a value of $74.5 million, while the level of imports to the United States to the country is estimated to be worth of $341.2 million. Reporting from Dar es Salaam, Rehema Sababili, TBC News.
Chairman of the Songwe Region Traders Forum, Charles Chenza, says more than 2 million businessmen and women from the Southern African Development Community SADC, as well as 200 companies from inside and outside the country, are expected to participate in the business exhibition that is expected to be held in Tunduma, Momba District, Songwe Region. The chairman says the expo aims at opening economic opportunities for traders in the region to capture the market of the SADC countries.
Uwezekano wa kupata wale watakao kuja kutembelea maonyesho.
Chances are the visitors that will visit the exhibition will be more than 2 million from all SADC countries and from Tanzania. So 200 companies from Dar es Salaam, Mtwara, Arusha, Kagera, who have agreed to participate in showing their products here will benefit from the exhibition. I want all the participants to use this opportunity as one of their ways to reduce their advertising costs. By bringing their product here, they will be visible to all the visitors.
Some of the businessmen and women in Tunduma say the international exhibition will help connect them with the business communities of neighboring countries and increase foreign currency in the country.
We shall benefit a lot from neighboring Zambia, Congo, Zimbabwe and South Africa they will all be here. We as business owners, our products shall be visible to the visitors. This opportunity of this exhibition is a great opportunity to bring us together among larger businessmen with factories, farmers and small businessmen.
The expo is expected to expand the scope of business in the region and stimulate economic activities in the region. Let's have a look at other stories. Minister of Industry and Trade, Dr. Ashatu Kijaji, has called local companies to maximize opportunities from trade exhibitions by exploring possibilities to enter into joint ventures with industrial production companies from abroad in order to increase the value of raw materials in the country and increase employment opportunities as well as income for the nation. She was speaking at the 24th East African International Trade Exhibition held in Dar es Salaam. And the Indian ambassador to Tanzania, Dinaya Pradhan, identified his country to be the best place for Tanzanian exporters.
Our industry has had a lot to celebrate over the past 2 years of Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania. Within her 2 successive years, we have had conducted over 70 trade missions and exhibitions, of which 24 are international. The remaining 46 are hybrid ones conducted here within the country.
India always remains the #1 destination for Tanzanian export, primarily because we offer duty-free tariff preference scheme to 98% of Tanzanian tariff clients, and that has always remained a big facilitator to Tanzanian exporters, and India would remain the market of choice.
We urge the Tanzanian businessmen to come and visit this exhibition because we have one of the latest technology, like we have electrical motorbikes. As you can see, the cost of fuel has gone down. So once you come here, you're going to engage because these guys are actually looking for distributors.
This exhibition was launched today in Dar es Salaam, where 120 foreign producers are participating in the exhibition with 30 local producers. The Executive Director of the East African Business Council, John Bosco Kalisa, urges youth and women to focus on adding value to products so that they can benefit from the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. He made the remarks in Dar es Salaam during a meeting aimed at motivating and sensitizing Tanzanian entrepreneurs, especially women and youth, on the opportunities available in the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. Rehema Sababili has more.
Tanzania, Kenya and Rwanda are among the 8 countries in Africa that are implementing an Africa Continental Free Trade Area AfCFTA program pilot project. The Executive Director of the East Africa Business Council, Bosco Kalisa, insists East Africa has to work together to ensure that they remove trade barriers and create a good business environment to enable the movement of trade.
Coming from East African community, that is Rwanda, Kenya, and United Republic of Tanzania. These countries already have a CFTA implementation strategy. It's not only the strategy, but also these countries have identified the value chain that are very competitive and in terms of accessing the wider continental free trade area.
On the other hand, the Tanzania Private Sector Foundation representative Sarah Telele says women still need to be motivated more so they can capitalize on the opportunities the market can provide.
To date, data shows us that only 12 certificates have been issued, and we have obtained this data from the Tanzanian Chamber of Commerce, who are the ones who issue original certificates. And in those 12 certificates, only 2 certificates have been awarded to women. This shows how much women need the education on how they can trade in this free African market.
Young people are starting their own products, and their products still face many challenges, especially in the marketing side. A larger percentage of young people are struggling with the local market. So the arrival of the free trade in Africa will open marketing opportunities for young people. and we as an institution are helping them. Young people should have an enabling environment to do business temporarily. Also, in terms of getting various information that bring productivity in ensuring that businesses succeed.
This workshop is going to help the women of TWCC and the Tanzanian women in general. So when this contract is signed, TWCC will greatly benefit. It will lift women who will be able to contribute to the economy through this contract. We will do business according to the relevant procedures and laws, but we will do it more profitably because we will be doing business the right way.
Africa Continental Free Trade Area market has a total population of 1.3 billion and still is growing, where by 2030 the AfCFTA market will be posting approximately $1.7 billion with a combined GDP of around 6 trillion. Reporting from Dar es Salaam, Rahima Sababili, TBC News.
Thank you, Rehema Sababili, for that report. Now from Dar es Salaam, let's head over to Iringa, whereby we're told Australian Centre for International Agriculture Research, Australian National University, in collaboration with the University of Dar es Salaam, have conducted a study to measure the health of the soil and water in 5 irrigation schemes in Iringa district, aimed at helping small farmers to produce productively. Irene Mokalenga has more.
The research project has benefited more than 10,000 farmers who have been able to produce productively using less water while knowing the health of the soil of their farms. Professor Jamik Pitok, a researcher from the University of Australia, and Dr. Neil Lazaro from the Agricultural Research Centre of Australia admitted that research is important for small farmers, many of whom do not have the ability to measure the health of the soil, the water they use, as well as modern technologies in production.
The yields of crops produced have increased nearly threefold. And we see that with the additional income and wealth from the farming community. We saw crop farmers who had used the extra income to pay their children's school fees, to build better houses, and to reinvest in agriculture and livestock.
And most importantly, we have a proactive and innovative set of government partners and a proactive and innovative set of community.
Speaking at the closing of the 10-year research project for irrigation schemes for small farmers, the Iringa Regional Commissioner Halima Dendego asked the agricultural research institutions working in her region to continue to advise farmers professionally so that they can produce productively and using modern technologies. Previously, the senior lecturer of the London University, Dr. Makaria Sumdem, who has been leading a panel of local and international researchers for 10 years, proved the existence of major changes for farmers. Along with closing the project, the University of Australia has agreed to start another circular food system in Africa project to increase the value of crops for small farmers of the irrigation schemes they worked with, including rice and vegetables in Iringa district. Irene Mwakalinga, TBC, Iringa.
A panel of doctors from India have started a camp to provide medical care for men and women with reproductive health problems to be held in Dar es Salaam. Speaking at the launch of the camp, Dr. Fiumagwa Hassan from the Institute of Tanlik Medical Tourism Agency says the service brings expert doctors from abroad to provide specialized services to those in need.
Let me just say that the challenge of reproduction has become very big. Many people are suffering from their problems in relationships. They are not lucky enough to have children, and unfortunately, many do not follow the official ways to find solutions. Many are wandering around on herbs. We, as Tanlik said, it is good to start an official procedure to find various solutions on health problems.
The specialized doctors from India elaborate how they plan to provide the services.
Infertility is an alarming condition in healthcare system nowadays. Infertility is recognized as a disease by WHO. So as per WHO, 1 out of 6 couples are facing this problem. So for infertile couples, what is important? Important is awareness, to understand this problem, to understand about treatment options.
India and baby science and Indian IVF clinics are getting popularity nowadays because of affordability is a major issue for the African patient who have been suffering with infertility. So in our clinics in India, particularly baby science, the affordability is not, cost is not would be a bigger issue for the Tanzanian patient. Definitely we would be giving the best option at a very reasonable cost there in baby science clinic.
The 3-day medical camp will be accompanied by the provision of education on reproductive issues, and it starts today, October 19th at Masana Hospital, and is expected to end on October 21st. Now, before we wind up our local news, let's take a look at the exchange rates according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT. Now, let us join Kanki Mwaigomole with international news.
Hundreds of vehicles carrying aid are waiting to be allowed into Gaza to bring in vital supplies. U.S. President Joe Biden has praised President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi of Egypt for agreeing to open the Rafah crossing to allow 20 humanitarian aid trucks that will begin crossing from Egypt to Gaza tomorrow. UN humanitarian chief Martin Griffiths says about 100 lorries a day will be required. Earlier, UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak met Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem. Israel has continued to bomb Gaza and hundreds of thousands of people have fled their homes. The most serious escalation in the conflict in decades erupted on 7th October when Hamas launched an attack on Israel, killing more than 1,400 people. Health officials say more than 3,700 people have been killed in Gaza since.
That was international news. Sports news up next. And in sports news, Simba head coach Roberto Oliveira says they are planning to write history in tomorrow's opening game of the African Football League against Al Ahly of Egypt, believing that the crowd of fans at their home stadium, Benjamin Mkapa, will give them the advantage to win the game. Robertinho has admitted that the game will be difficult, but the good preparation, quality and morale of his players gives him the confidence to win the game, while Al Ahly coach Marcel Koller says they want to write new history by winning against Simba in the Benjamin Mkapa Stadium.
3 points for me is most important. Most important. Listen, our personality, our talent and confidence. You understand? For me, it's nice. You'll be very, very important tomorrow. I like too much improve inside the pitch during the 90 minutes. Okay, Simba, go give our maximum tomorrow for winning this game.
Simba has won both games. They met with Al Ahly at the Benjamin Mkapa Stadium, and tomorrow they will face the Egyptian giant in the first game of the quarterfinals of the African Football League. And that's it for sports news. But before we wind up, let's take a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours.
Patterns: average wind speed expected over the most part of our country, while the highest maximum temperature for tomorrow are expected to be 34 degrees Celsius over Tabora and Katavi. Rainfall signals, the strongest one, are distributed over the Lake Victoria Basin together with northern part of coastal areas. And TMA issue an advisory for expecting heavy precipitation at times over the Lake Victoria Basin, including Kagera, Geita, Mwanza, Mara, and Kigoma regions. Please take note on that. For tonight, we expect future particle conditions, thunder shower over Fure and sun period over the Lake Victoria Basin together with Kigoma and Katavi. While in northern coast, we expect future particle conditions, light rain shower over Fure, and the rest part of our country expect future particle condition. For tomorrow, we expect future particle conditions, thunder shower over Fure and sun period over the Lake Victoria Basin together with Kigoma, Katavi, Rukwa, Tanga, Unguja, and Pemba Isas. While Dar es Salaam, Pwani, and the northern Morogoro, I expect future particle condition, rain shower over Fure and sun period. Northern Eastern Highland together with southern part of Morogoro region and southern coast, I expected future particle condition, light rain shower over Fure and sun period. While the rest part of our country expect future particle condition and long sun period. Let's have a look for the 4 days weather forecast for some part of our country starting from the day after tomorrow. Thank you for watching us and have a good night.
And on that note, we are ending our news bulletin for tonight. Don't miss our next bulletin in Kiswahili at 11 p.m. I am Faida Ngaga. Good night.
Kundi la nchi 77 ulifunguliwa rasmi na Rais wa Tanzania, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere. Vikundi mbalimbali vya ngoma viliwatumbuiza wageni.
The agenda of your conference is very long. It deals with very important matters.
Mwaka 1967. Na ingawa misimamo ya siasa ya uchumi wa nchi zetu inatofautiana, tuligundua kwa jitihada za kuendeleza uchumi wetu kama makubwa na tajiri.
Some just plain social.
Kundi la nchi 77 halina itikadi ya aina moja. Wengine wetu ni wajamaa wa kisayansi na wengine ni wajamaa wa kawaida. Wengine ni mabepari, wengine ni wananadharia na wengine ni mafascist. Na sio lazima tuwe marafiki miongoni mwetu.
We are not necessarily friendly with each other. Some countries represented here are currently engaged in a war with each other.
Na wengine waliopo hapa wamo katika vita baina yao. Lakini mgawanyiko wa aina hii unaweza kuwa wa manufaa na pia unatusaidia sisi kuhakikisha kuwa maslahi yetu yanashughulikiwa ipasavyo tunapoandaa mipango mbalimbali katika kundi hili.
Nothing I have said is new. It can only be a reminder of well-known truths as you embark upon your labor. For there are no miraculous answers.
Alimalizia kwa kusema kuwa hakuna miujiza itakayotatua matatizo na kwamba kubadilisha mfumo wa uchumi duniani ni hatua ambayo tunaweza kuiharakisha, kuielekeza na kuifanya isilete matatizo makubwa. Matayarisho yenu kwa ajili ya mkutano ujao wa UNCTAD yawe pia ni matayarisho kwa hatua za baadaye ambazo tunatarajia kuzipata.
Your Excellencies, thank you very much.
Ili kurudisha haki na heshima ya Mwafrika, Frelimo iliundwa mwaka 1962 chini ya rais wake wa kwanza, mwanamapinduzi hayati Eduardo Chivambo Mondlane. Baada ya Wareno kudharau mwito wa wananchi Msumbiji kutaka kujitawala, Frelimo iliwaandaa wananchi kuikomboa nchi yao kwa silaha. Mwaka 1969 mabeberu na vibaraka wao walifanya njama na kumuua Mondlane. Chini ya mwanamapinduzi Samora Moises Machel, rais wa pili wa Frelimo, vita vya ukombozi vilizidi kuwa vikali na ushindi wa Frelimo ulizidi kuonekana. Wakoloni walitapatapa kwa hofu, walitupa mabomu hovyo na kuua hata wale wasio na hatia. Waliosalimika katika ukatili huo wa kinyama walipata majeraha na vilema vya maisha. Frelimo ilikuwa imara, misituni shule zilijengwa, na elimu ya kimapinduzi iliendeshwa kwa vitendo na kwa michezo ya kuigiza.